The silence of the mountain night was split by hushed voices and the dull clang of weapons being drawn. In the dim light of flickering torches, Shujin, known in the villages as the Nine-Dragon Warrior, stood tall on the wooden balcony of his ancestral hall, his sharp eyes scanning the courtyard below. Kneeling before him were three rugged men, Ju Wu, the resourceful strategist, Chenda the swift tiger, and Yang Chun, the white-faced fox. Each bore the dust and scars of a life lived outside the law. Their breath steamed in the chill air, but their voices were steady. "Brother Shai," Ju Wu said with conviction, "we are wanted men. Don't let us bring trouble upon you. Tie us up and hand us over to the constables outside. Claim the reward and keep your name clean." Shujin's face darkened. "Nonsense," he growled. "You three came to my estate at my invitation. If I were to betray you, would I not be the true criminal here?" He waved them to their feet and then climbed the outer watchtower. Looking down, he called out, "Why have you surrounded my home in the dead of night?" Two village constables stood in the road, lanterns in hand. "Shujin," one shouted, "we've got a witness. Your servant Li Ji brought us word. He found the bandits' letter in the woods. These men are wanted by the magistrate." "Li Ji!" Shujin barked, his voice echoing down from the parapet. "You would slander guests under my roof?" The servant shrank under his master's gaze. I found the letter, sir. I didn't know what to do. I thought I should report it." Shujin turned to the man called Wang Si. "You claimed there was no letter. What now?" Wang Si stammered. "I was drunk, Master Shi. I forgot I had it." Shujin clenched his fists. "Lying coward." Back inside, Ju Wu and the others readied themselves. "Let us answer their lies," Ju Wu muttered. Shujin understood immediately. He turned to the constables. "You two wait there. I'll bring the prisoners out myself. Don't make a move." The men hesitated, then nodded. Shujin descended, but instead of delivering his guests, he led Wang Si into the rear garden and, without ceremony, ended the trader's life with one clean stroke. Torches flared to life. The manor came alive with movement, servants bundling valuables, stable boys tightening saddles, the air thick with tension. Shujin donned his battle robe and strapped his sword across his back. His guests followed suit, weapons in hand. Then, with one final order, he set fire to the rear barns. Flames leapt into the sky. With a fierce cry, the four warriors burst through the front gates like spirits of vengeance. Smoke and sparks curled behind them. Li Ji and the constables turned to flee, but Shujin caught the traitorous servant first. One swing of his sword, and the man was split in two. Chen Da and Yang Chun dispatched the constables with ruthless efficiency. By the time the magistrate's soldiers arrived, the manor was ablaze, and the attackers had vanished into the mountains. The mountain winds howled over Shaohua Ridge, but inside the bandits' hideout, a feast was underway. The flames of a slaughtered ox danced in the fire pit, casting shadows on wooden walls and sun-worn faces. Shujin sat at the head of the rough-hewn table, but his mind wasn't with the wine or the merriment. He stared into his cup, troubled. "My estate is gone," he muttered. "Everything my father left me burnt to ashes. Though we escaped with our lives, the price was heavy." Ju Wu leaned in. "Brother Shi, stay here. Make this your stronghold. We'll rebuild, and when the trouble dies down, you can live as a free man again." But Shijin shook his head. "My heart is restless. I have unfinished business in the West. My master, Wang Jin, the man who taught me the way of the sword, is said to be serving at the military garrison in Yan'an. I must find him." Ju Wu tried once more. "Even a king needs a moment to breathe, brother. You could be our leader, build a name feared across the rivers." "I am no mountain king," Shijin replied. "I am the son of a soldier, and I must carve my path not in shadows, but under the sky." So he packed what silver he had left, slung his sword and a traveler's bundle on his back, and said farewell to the bandits of Shaohua. They embraced with tears and brotherhood, and watched as Shujin descended the mountain, alone once more. He traveled west for days, then weeks, through rain and cold, surviving on dried rations and stubborn resolve. At last, in the bustling city of Weizhou, he found himself seated at a roadside tea shop, brushing the dust from his boots. "Tea, sir?" asked a young boy, offering a chipped porcelain cup. Shijin nodded. "Tell me, where is the military office in this city?" The boy pointed vaguely. "Straight ahead, past the market." Shujin hesitated, then asked, "Do you know of a teacher named Wang Jin, a sword master from Dongjing?" The tea boy scratched his head. "Plenty of swordmen here, sir, but that name, I don't know." Just then, the wooden door creaked open, and a giant of a man strode in. His boots thundered on the floorboards. He wore a bright green battle robe and bore a twin-ring broadsword across his back. His beard was thick and wild, his eyes sharp like twin daggers. The tea boy whispered, "That's Lu Da, a military inspector. He knows everyone." Shijin stood and bowed slightly. "Good sir, might I trouble you for a word?" Lu Da looked the younger man over, noting his strong shoulders and martial air. "Speak freely." "I'm looking for someone," Shujin said. "His name is Wang Jin. He was a sword instructor in Dongjing." Lu Da's eyes twinkled. "Ah, that name I know. He ran afoul of the Grand Marshal and fled to Yan'an. He's not here, but you're not just asking for anyone. What's your name?" "Shijin of Huayan County," he replied. "Perhaps you've heard 9 Dragon Shi." Lu Da threw back his head and laughed. "Heard of you? I thought you'd have horns and breathe fire. Come, brother Shi, let us share wine and tales." The sun was high over Weizhou as Lu Da led Shujin through a bustling market, the sounds of vendors and clinking iron filling the air like a parade of brass. They turned down a narrow alley and entered a lively wine house perched above a canal. The red banner outside read Pawn Family Tavern, swaying gently in the late morning breeze. Inside, the place smelled of roasted duck and aged wine. Lu Da, without ceremony, pounded a thick fist on the wooden table. "Wine, 4 flasks, and bring something greasy. We're warriors, not dancers." The tavern keeper rushed out with a nervous bow. "Yes, yes, esteemed inspector." Moments later, 3 men sat around a carved table, Lu Da at the head, Shujin at his side, and a third man, tanned and lean, with a crooked nose and a knowing smile. Li Zhong, a wandering pugilist once known as the Tiger Striker. He was, as it happened, Shujin's first martial teacher. "Master Li!" Shijin exclaimed upon recognizing him. "What fate brings us together again?" Li Jong laughed heartily, slapping the table. "What fate? Wine, that's what." Then he turned to Lu Da. "This one was just a cub when I taught him to punch. Now look at him, like a dragon in armor." As the wine flowed and memories were shared, a sound rose from the adjacent room, faint at first, then clearer, a woman crying, choked sobs, fragile and raw. Lu Da's brow twitched, he clenched his cup. "Who's spoiling my wine with sorrow?" he barked. The tavern keeper appeared instantly, bowing low. "Forgive us, honored inspector. It's a singer and her father. They rent the side room to play and earn coin. The girl, she's weeping. Bad luck, yes, but not meant to offend." Lu Da was already on his feet. "Bring them here." The old man and the girl entered timidly. The girl couldn't have been more than 17, her dress threadbare, but her posture proud. Her father, stooped and gray, clutched a worn set of wooden clappers and bowed deeply. The girl wiped her face and dropped to her knees. "Please forgive our rudeness, sir. We did not know such great guests were present." Lu Da looked her over, not with hunger, but with concern. "Tell me," he said, his voice lower now, "what beast made you cry?" The old man spoke. "We are from Dongjing. My wife passed during the journey. I was foolish. I borrowed money from a butcher named Jung Tu. They call him Jung the Mighty, but he's a thug. He claimed my daughter as collateral, 3,000 coins worth, sold her body with forged papers, made her his concubine. Then his wife threw her out, and he demanded repayment. Now the tavern holds us hostage for the debt." Lu Da's nostrils flared. "Jung the Mighty, is it? Selling women like meat? I know that swine. Works under my commander as a licensed butcher." He stood abruptly. "You two will return to Dongjing. I'll handle the debt." Li Jong and Shijin tried to calm him. "Brother, don't start a fight in daylight. Let us plan it." Lu Da paused. "You're right. First thing tomorrow." He turned to Shijin. "Lend me some silver." Shijin laid a thick coin on the table. No need to repay. Li Jong followed suit, though reluctantly. "Here's 2 more." Lu Da handed the money to the girl. "Pack, leave at dawn. No one will stop you." Then, turning to the innkeeper, he growled, "If anyone touches them, I'll turn your skull into a wine jug." The old man and the girl knelt in thanks, their tears now of gratitude. The next morning, the air was thick with the scent of early dumplings and whetstone. Lu Da, already up before the rooster crowed, strode into the Rue family inn where the girl and her father were kept. His voice rang through the quiet like a bronze bell. "Where's old Jin and his daughter?" The inn boy stammered. They're packing, sir. But Jung Tu's money. He said—" Lu Da didn't wait for the end of the sentence. With a roar, he seized the boy by the collar and hurled him across the hall like a sack of stale rice. The boy hit the far wall and crumpled. Groaning, he crawled away as fast as a frog on fire. "Let the girl go," Lu Da ordered, voice like thunder. "And if Jung Tu wants his money, tell him to collect it from the afterlife." He sat in the inn's front hall for 2 full hours, arms folded, guarding the entrance like a stone lion. When at last the old man and girl slipped quietly away with their bags, he nodded once. Justice began with fists, but it needed silence to finish. Now, with the girl safely gone, Lu Da marched toward the Zhuangyuan Bridge, where the infamous Zheng Tu kept his butcher's stall. A thick man with a belly like a wine jug and hands stained red, Zheng Tu stood behind twin chopping blocks, cleavers flashing. As Lu Da approached, Zheng Tu squinted. "Inspector, what an honor! Please have a seat." "I'm here for meat," Lu Da said evenly. 10 pounds of lean, no fat, no bones, for the Lord Inspector himself. Zheng chuckled and wiped his cleaver. "Right away, sir." He began to carve, but Lu Da stopped him. "Not them. I want you to cut it, personally." Zheng blinked, then obeyed. The cleaver flashed and danced for a good half-hour as he prepared the meat under Lu Da's watchful gaze. When he finished, Lu Da spoke again. "Now, 10 pounds of pure fat, no lean in sight, also minced." Sweating, Zheng obeyed, and just as he wrapped the second portion, Lu Da leaned in. "One last order," he said softly. 10 pounds of soft bone, and I want it diced, finely." Zheng's temper cracked. "You're mocking me, Inspector. I'm not your servant." Before he could finish, Lu Da's voice rose like thunder on a mountain top. "Mocking you? You shame a maiden and call yourself a man? You filthy, pig-blooded beast!" With a twist of his shoulders, Lu Da swung both meat bundles into Zheng's face. The cleavers dropped. Zheng roared, leapt across the block, and met Lu Da's iron fist. The punch hit with the weight of a falling temple bell. Zheng staggered. Another blow shattered his nose. Blood poured down like red wine in the market gutter. Onlookers gasped, frozen by the violence and Lu Da's fury. "You called yourself Zheng the Mighty?" Lu Da growled. "You're just a rat with a cleaver." Another fist to the temple, another to the jaw. Zheng collapsed onto the stone street, twitching. Lu Da planted a boot on his chest and shouted to the gathering crowd, "Let all of Weizhou bear witness. This man preyed on the poor. This is justice. This is what happens when a wolf wears the mask of a man." Zheng sputtered. Blood bubbled on his lips. Lu Da raised a fist again. One final strike. Zheng the Mighty was silent. Blood on his knuckles. Breath heavy. Lu Da looked down at the broken man he'd just sent to hell. "I meant to scare him," he muttered, "but this is no scaring." Already, whispers rose like wind through reeds. Did he kill Zheng? "It's the inspector. The butcher's dead, dead." Lu Da turned. A dozen townspeople had already scattered. He didn't wait for the constables or the governor's men. By the time anyone dared approach Zheng's stall, the inspector was gone, his short staff in hand, his pack thrown over his shoulder, his cloak billowing like a banner in the rising sun. Thus began Lu Da's life as a fugitive. The warrants came quickly. Posters were hung in every province. Wanted, Lu Da of Weizhou, former inspector, killed Zheng Tu in broad daylight, 1,000 strings of cash for his head. But Lu Da was no ordinary man. His journey, one of swords, monks, mountains, and redemption, had only just begun, and far away, in the temple shadows of a northern county, his destiny awaited. cloaked in saffron robes and silent prayers,